And his deputy. But apparently there was a request by two ministers, that is the Minister of Foreign Affairs Singapore and the Finance Minister of Singapore, who expressed their wish to meet me. Therefore, I was delayed because of additional appointment by the two ministers. I do not know why they want to meet me and discuss issues with me. Perhaps they see a rising star across South China Sea. That is a new star emerging across the South China Sea. But I had a very good discussion with the Prime Minister Shin Lung, the Deputy Prime Minister, and also the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Finance Minister. Of course, the Finance Minister shared with me that they are going to raise GST in 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, sorry, I think almost I wish to convey my warmest greetings to you all present here tonight, which include players from the oil and gas sectors, the GRCs, corporations, and everyone who come from near and far to be with us at the official launching of Petroleum Sarawak Berhad, Petros. Today marks yet another milestone in the state oil and gas inclusion efforts, and especially for Sarawak, simply because we have new source to enable us to increase the depth of our state's resources management model. The State Cabinet, members of the State Cabinet and I are very happy indeed because we are taking the bull by the horns in our efforts to transform our state economy in order to leapfrog to new heights. So this event tonight is a momentous occasion, not only for Sarawak, but also for Malaysia. Ladies and gentlemen, historical background. Let me begin by sharing a few words about the state of Sarawak's humble journey in the oil and gas industry. The oil mining in Sarawak started on the 22nd of December 1910, when the first oil well in Miri was commissioned. In 1921, the Raja issued what was known as the Share Concession Order to designate the area in Miri for the exploration and mining of oil by Sarawak Oilfield Limited, which was owned by Shell. You can see the document there. Exploration for oil offshore Baram area took place in the 1930s by the Dutch and the British. In 1952,
the Sarawak colonial government issued an oil mining lease in the form of a deed to Sarawak Oil Fields Limited with the liberties, right, and privileges to explore and mine all the petroleum lying or within, under, or throughout the territory comprising the colony of Sarawak, including lands beneath all territorial waters. Unquote. In 1954, the Queen in Council passed the Sarawak Alteration of Boundaries Order to extend the boundaries of Sarawak to include the area being the seabed and its subsoil, which lies beneath the high seas contiguous to the territorial waters of Sarawak. In 1958, Council Negeri passed the Oil Mining Ordinance to, quote, make better provision in the law relating to oil mining in Sarawak and its continental shelf. Ladies and gentlemen, state rights to oil remain intact after Malaysia Day. Therefore, before Malaysia Day, 16 September 1963, Sarawak already owned all the petroleum resources both onshore and offshore in the continental shelf and had complete control over the ground of prospecting, exploration, and mining rights within the boundaries of Sarawak, which by virtue of Article 2 of Federal Constitution cannot be altered without the approval of the Sarawak to be expressed by a law passed by the state legislature. On Malaysia Day, the state has the constitutional rights to issue prospecting licenses, mining leases under Item 2(c) of the state list in 9th Schedule of Federal Constitution, which provides that, quote, land, including permits and licenses for prospecting for mines, mining leases, and certificates, unquote, are under the legislative authority of the state. And therefore, by virtue of Article 18, within the executive authority of the state government of Sarawak. Further government's right under Item A(j) of Federal List in 9th schedule is subject to item 2C of state list. This means the federal government's authority on oil and oil fields and the development of mineral resources is subject to the state rights to grant mining rights for oil and natural gas within Sarawak. Banyak klik ni. All laws passed by Parliament must not be inconsistent with federal constitution. Article 4 declares that the federal constitution is the supreme law of the federation. Sarawak Oil Mining Ordinance was never repealed by any emergency laws promulgated when the 1969 proclamation of emergency was in force. The 1969 proclamation of emergency was annulled in 2011. Thus, Sarawak is constitutionally entitled to enforce the Oil Mining Ordinance and assert our constitutional authority over the rights to mine oil and gas in Sarawak. Prime Minister's assurance. The Yang Amat Berhormat Prime Minister has stated categorically that rights inadvertently taken away from the state, including during the period of the state emergency, will be given back to the state. The State Cabinet has approved a bill to amend the Oil Mining Ordinance to update its provisions and to provide better enforcement thereof. This bill will be tabled at the next sitting of the State Legislative Assembly. The State Legislative Assembly, in the exercise of its constitutional powers, has already passed the Gas Distribution Ordinance 2016. This ordinance will be brought into force on 1st July 2018. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, now I would like to touch on compliance with the state laws. Therefore, by July this year, the state will assume full regulatory authority over the upstream and downstream aspects of the oil and gas industry in Sarawak. All persons and companies involved in the oil and gas industries in Sarawak must henceforth have the necessary licenses, permits, leases, and approvals required under either the Oil Mining Ordinance or the Gas Distribution Ordinance. In other words, they are required to regularize their operations and activities to comply with all state laws, including those relating to the use and occupation of land. The enforcement of our state laws will not jeopardize the interest or investment of Petronas and other companies already involved in the oil and gas industry in Sarawak, whether upstream or downstream. But there is a but here. Their business and operational activities must be aligned with our laws and regulations. Ladies and gentlemen, Petros and its role. The government incorporated Petroleum Sarawak Berhad, Petros, to spearhead the state's participation in the oil and gas sectors that are considered of strategic importance to the overall socio-economic development objectives of Sarawak. Petros will be granted rights to mine oil and natural gas in the state and be an important player in the upstream oil and gas industry. Initially, such a license has been issued and will be handed to Petros during this ceremony. Given the significant role of Petros in Sarawak oil and gas sector, I believe it is important for Petros to be strong, effective, and efficient in performing its mandated roles. To achieve this, delegation of oil and gas regulatory and supervisory authority by the state to Petros is mandatory. With this in mind, Petros must build on its strategic presence in Sarawak in order to grow and to deliver sustainable economic benefits via its business model, while at the same time safeguarding the interests of our state government and its resources. Accordingly, to ensure that Petros performs its mandated roles in a prudent manner, Petros is required to seek guidance from the Sarawak government for broad policy direction in the execution of its strategic roles and responsibilities. Ladies and gentlemen, the Petros team. In August last year, I appointed Petros' first board of directors. Earlier this year, I have appointed another board member, Datin Josephine Hilary Dome. Josephine is a respected individual in the field of finance and accounting, has been around in the Malaysian corporate world for more than 3 decades now. As I speak, Petros already has a Chief Executive Officer, CEO. He is an experienced and professional individual in the oil and gas fraternity that will lead a competent and high integrity Petros operational team. I am delighted to introduce here Mr. Sao Kako, officially as the new CEO of Petros. Sao, a Bedayo, spent almost 40 years of his career in the oil and gas industry. His last position was the Vice President for Asia of a US-based independent oil company. Petros is fortunate to gain Sao's experience, talent, and vision. I am confident that Sao is the right person to lead Petros into the future, adding value to the careers of talented young Sarawakians while making Petros the best place to work. Like what I've said, Sarawaks indeed have a good pool of talents with the experience and expertise in oil and gas industry, and their involvement will be further enhanced with participation in contracts and supply of services offered by Petros. The state government will issue guidelines to Petros to ensure greater and more meaningful participation by Sarawakians and Sarawak companies in this sector. Since 1975, liquefied natural gas from Sarawak have been exported by Petronas, and the revenues so derived have contributed tremendously to the national economy and the development of the Federation. By the exercise of our constitutional rights, the state government is fulfilling the aspiration of the people of Sarawak. That the additional revenues from oil and gas will accelerate industrial development and economic progress so as to enable Malaysia as a whole to achieve a high income economy by the year for Sarawak 2030. The state government would like to see Petros work alongside with Petronas, both in the upstream and downstream sectors of the oil and gas industry. Both companies can contribute significantly towards the advancement of the oil and gas industry in Malaysia and the economic progress and prosperity of our nation. Ladies and gentlemen, now I would like to share with you the devolution of power. Tonight, I would like to announce to Sarawakians, as I have promised in Cebu recently, Yang Amat Berhormat Prime Minister has agreed to return to the state power that has been inadvertently eroded over the years. Therefore, the state will exploit our natural resources, oil and gas, which is constitutionally under the state list, as per 9th schedule of the Federal Constitution. Indeed, the formation of Petros and the exercising of the constitutional rights under Item 2, bracket C of the state list and 8, bracket J of the federal list as provided in the 9th schedule of the Federal Constitution is the outcome of the discussion on devolution of power between the state and federal government. I would like, therefore, to thank the Prime Minister for agreeing to give back the power that has been inadvertently eroded over the years. The launch of Petros tonight is a clear testimony that substantial progress has been achieved in the ongoing discussion on devolution of power. With the continued support of the people for the Barisan Nasional, I'm sure more progress will be made so as to meet the aspiration of Sarawakians that the state of Sarawak to attain the level of development of the more developed state in Peninsular Malaysia by having more revenues from our oil, gas and other mineral resources. To fund the state's government development agenda and the initiative launched by me for a digital economy for Sarawak. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to conclude by reiterating the importance for all of us as Malaysians working together to address our common challenges as we strive to enable Sarawak to benefit from this limited natural resources management initiative. Once again, I wish to thank you all present tonight to see through the state to develop even at the greater phase with policies like the creation of Petros. I wish Petros, his board of directors, new CEO, every success and discharge of their responsibilities to spearhead the oil and gas industry to a new era where the state not only controls and regulates the industry, but the state and our people will truly benefit from the oil and natural gas resources which the state is endowed with. With that, let us pray. We get more money and we will develop Sarawak as a developed state by 20 and 30, emerging a rising star in the South China Sea. With that, once again, I thank you and I wish you, particularly Petros, all success, and I pleasure in officiating the launching of Petroleum Sarawak Berhad. Thank you very much.